Hi, welcome to my first video in English. This is the visual brain, and today we're talking about the ideas of one of the most recognized psychologists in the field of education, Lev Semyonovich Vygotsky. He was born on November 17, 1896 in Orsha, Russia, nowadays known as Belarus. He died on June 11, 1934 in Moscow, Soviet Union, at just 38 years old, that being the reason why most of his theories are incomplete. He was a psychologist of Jewish origin, one of the most prominent theories of developmental psychology, founder of historical cultural psychology, and precursor of neuropsychology. Vygotsky's socio-historical theory. Vygotsky's theory considers that social interaction is fundamental for the development of cognition. He believed that the community played a central role in the process of creating meaning. A notion that separates Vygotsky from other theories is that he considered learning to be a necessary and universal aspect in the development process. Now, let's review some of his main ideas. One of the most important ideas proposed by Vygotsky is that of the intellectual adaptation tools. These are divided into two groups: elementary mental functions and the higher mental functions. First, let's see the elementary mental functions. Vygotsky argued that children are born with basic intellectual development skills, which are called elementary mental functions. These are common to men and other vertebrate animals. These processes are attention, sensation, perception, and memory. Attention can be defined as a cognitive process that allows us to orient ourselves towards those stimuli that are relevant, ignoring those that are not. In this video, we can see an example of attention in a cat that concentrates on the red dot of the laser while trying to catch it, thus giving it its full attention. We can also see examples of attention in everyday situations, with human beings such as this child watching television. Sensation can be defined as the response of the sense organs to a stimulus. We can observe this when, for example, an animal or a baby tastes acidic foods, using their sense of taste. Perception can be defined as the interpretation of the sensations we receive through the sensory organs. These signals are organized, interpreted, and analyzed not only based on what is currently happening, but also based on our previous experiences. For example, in this video we can see how this kitten relaxes with human contact, while in this other one we see how an animal of the same species is scared by human presence. Although in both cases the stimuli they receive are friendly, the difference between their previous experiences make them react differently. Since the first cat perceives the human as friendly, while the second one perceives it as a threat. The interpretation of the signals is not always perfect though. Remember when the whole internet argued about the color of this dress? And what colors do you see? Comment below. Finally, let's talk about the memory, which can be defined as a function of the brain that allows us to encode, store, and retrieve information from the past. In animals, we can see instances of memory use at all times, as in this squirrel that remembers how to obtain food from a test tube filled with water. In the case of humans, we use our memory all the time. We are even able to remember smells and flavors. Eventually, through interaction within the socio-cultural environment, these elementary mental functions are developed into more sophisticated and effective mental processes or strategies, which Vygotsky refers to as higher mental functions. Higher mental functions, which are characterized by being specifically human, develop in children thanks to the incorporation of culture. Different cultural experiences can produce different development processes. Higher mental functions are subdivided into rudimentary and advanced. Rudimentary. They develop just by participating in a society's culture, like for example the oral language. In this video we can see how an English mother teaches her daughter to speak. In this case, and due to her context, the girl is learning to speak English.
Say to mummy, say please,
Please,
can,
I,
no, I, please,
please,
can,
can,
I,
yeah,
no, I,
yeah,
have
have,
a,
eat,
you're good.
Advanced. They require teaching or guidance, which usually involves a specific institutional framework, like for example the school. Writing and scientific concepts are examples of advanced higher mental functions. In this video we can see how a mother teaches her daughter how to write her own name, thus introducing her to the world of written language.
And now the Y. The Y is you're gonna go down, up, and then give it a tail. And that's a Y. Can you do that? Let's go. You go down, then you go up, and the Y has a tail. So you give it a tail. Very nice. Let's show our friends. And here's Emily doing the Y. And then you want to have them do their full name once they have learned all of the letters. Go ahead, Emily, and do your full name. Emily.
Another idea that comes from Vigotsky is that of the internalization processes. The progressive incorporation of cultural instruments and the self-regulation of behavior allows the development of the higher mental functions, and all of this occurs through a process known as Vygotsky's law of double formation. According to Vygotsky, in the child's cultural development, every function appears twice, first at the social level and later at the individual level. That is to say, the higher mental functions do not occur in the person at birth, but rather appear externally as social or cultural models. Then, through internalization, they are presented again in the child's mind without needing a model. We can observe this in another of Vygotsky's most important concepts: levels in a student's ability. These are three, and they describe how independently a person can perform an activity. These are called zones, and they are the zone of actual development, the zone of potential development, and the zone of proximal development. Let's begin with the zone of actual development. It is what a person can solve alone. As for example, we can see in this video a child riding a bicycle on his own without the need for any support or help. Zone of potential development. It is what a person can do only with help, but won't be able to do alone. In this video we can see an example of a girl who is in her potential development zone while learning to ride a bike, since she can do it, but she still needs support. Zone of proximal development. It is the space in which, thanks to the interaction and help of others, a person can work and solve a problem or perform a task in a way and at a level that he will not be able to do individually. As we can see in this video, this child can ride a bicycle practically on his own, but it is thanks to the support of his parents that he manages to do it in a way that would be harder to accomplish on his own. In order to be able to reach new levels of development, according to Vygotsky, a special type of support is necessary. He calls this support scaffolding. Scaffolding can be defined as the interaction situation between an expert or more experienced subject in a domain and another more novice or less expert. In this interaction, the aim is that the less expert subject gets to gradually appropriate knowledge. This is just like the building process of a new building, where scaffolds are used until the building is ready to stand by itself. The idea of scaffolding refers to the fact that the activity is solved collaboratively. At the beginning, the expert subject will have more control over the activity, but that control will be gradually delegated over the learner. Now let's see the two key features that a scaffolding format must meet. First and foremost, it must be adjustable. That is to say, that it must be adapted to the level of competence of the less expert subject and the progress that occurs. It must also be temporary, which means that it cannot be routinized nor become chronic, because it would hamper the expected autonomy of the students. An example of scaffolding can be seen in this video, where a father teaches his daughter American states using a puzzle. Taking into account the age of the girl, we see that this scaffolding meets the criteria of being adjustable, since the teaching is done in a didactic way, adapted to the level of competence of the girl. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have found it useful. Please do not forget to leave a thumbs up if it was so, and also leave a comment with your opinion on the subject and what you can contribute. Finally, do not forget to share it and subscribe for more educational videos so we can continue learning together. See you in the next video!